So we finally meet the conclusion of the Laxus versus Wall fight. Now the biggest question on the wall is how was this fight compared to on? Well, there's a little thing I want to say about this chapter, but I think this is the best fight that we've had out of all of the Spriggan 12 thus far. So let's begin 473 Red Lightning. Now, coming straight into this chapter, we get to see Wall just decimate Laxus. Oh my god, the guy was just going in with everything that he had, all his missile bombardment, just lasers being fired at him. Laxus, like, even the coolest thing of all, which is railguns. And if anyone's ever played, like, any kind of mech game or seen any Gundams, you know how awesome railguns fucking are. And Laxus just took one of them straight to chest. I mean, he was just getting bombarded left, right. And I was just like, damn, Laxus, anytime you want to make a comeback anymore, because I was feeling a little bit bad reading these pages, like, any day, Laxus, you're kind of getting the shit kicked out of you, gotta be fair. And just throughout all the time, even when Laxus was dodging some of it, he was just still firing Gatling guns at him, but he was still going at him. And even still, Wall was like, this is a system error, because, like, I've even gone through the extermination time limit, I've exceeded that. God damn it, I'm a failure. And it's just like, this human's something else no matter what, even though he's got like all these magic particles going inside of him, and it's just like, that's too much for him even at this point. And he's like, you know what, even at this point now with mobility just out of the question as you're on the ground, Laxus, you know what, breathing at this point is goddamn difficult. And you know what he fucking does with it? And this is the most, like, very, I guess, controversial part of the chapter where, like, everyone's gonna go, oh, friendship power up, here we go, bullshit, no. This one wasn't friendship power, like, bullshit or anything like that. He comes, he actually did something very fucking smart here, and he does a Jutsu Shiki barrier, which, if to people known, that's something that Freed always does, and actually this is something that was actually taught him by Freed, so he can do something like this. And he's like, do you have something wrong with you? Like, is your memory capacity lacking, human? Like, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, barriers don't matter to me. I can cancel them and all that. It's like, you know, I'm a nullifier. I can do whatever the fuck I want and all that. And it's like, I'm just gonna cancel it all fucking here. And it's just like, oh shit, like that. He's just like, you know, I owe you all Freed and all that, because you know what you just did right there? There aren't many wizards that can dispel like one of your shields like that easily, but it's like, even if there was one, it would have to be completely null and void, and otherwise just the medicine the doctor ordered that I needed right here and now. And it's just like, what the fuck? I'm sure a lot of people. So to put that into terms and all that, what basically he did and all that, he nullified the entire area right there and then, like where it took out all of the magic out of that area there, and even the particles out there. So it nullified the actual particles inside of him that just managed to give him just like, you know, recover himself slightly. So he was fighting on a negative. Now he's actually on kind of like plus and a minus. Now a lot of people can say minus. Like, I think that was actually kind of very clever for him to do that, and I've read 2 translations of it, like going from this, and it's just like, you know what? And he's like, as much as it pains and bears my thanks and all that to my savior and all that, you hurt my family, you hurt my friends, I'm going to like kill you now. And he's just like, you know what? You can't even do anything like this. You just trying to hit me with lightning, and then it's like, wait, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck's going on? Dark red lightning, what the fuck's going on? You know, I don't know what the fuck is going on. And then he finally does it. Mercury Fulminate Thunder God. Like, I was like, okay, now Laxus has got his own thing right now. Like, that red lightning, like blood. And I was gonna say, you know what? That was a pretty goddamn cool, like, technique. Like, nothing, like, I think, like, from the part of the chapter and all that, and not even talking about the whole Yuri stuff we'll get into in a minute, like, the fight itself is, I'm fine with. I think this is the best one we've got so far out of Argyle versus Urza, even if you want to count the Brandish one, which really isn't like that. Like, you know, that one's flying in my eye if it's a joke one, but it's like, this one, like, I think it's a more fun one, even though it's a very short one. I mean, we only had it 2 chapters ago. But you gotta think Laxus was already fighting on a handicap on that. The thing that kind of irks me though about this chapter It's like, don't bring into an element like something like this weird kind of cancerous sort of like monster kind of parasite you've got inside your body, like these LA anti-particle, and they're just like poof, you know, kind of gone like that. That's the one thing that kind of irks me about the chapter. It's just like, you got this kind of death-threatening kind of thing that's like in your like system right now, and then it's just like, oh, gone, never mind. That was just the one thing that annoyed me about the chapter more than anything, and that was why I was having such a debate in my mind with this chapter. It's like, do I like this chapter, or am I a bit meh on this chapter? And I do like the chapter, don't get me wrong, but I still think that that's the huge elements that kind of take it out of it. And even as well, when we saw like one of the sweeter parts of the chapter, was when we saw the whole thing about like when they were talking about in Zetsuland, which is the OVA that they did. This is the little thing that they did in there, and there's the one chapter they did in the Grand Magic Games. In Zetsuland, like fucking Laxus and Maidens were actually chilling and talking to one another. And I'm like, they're having this serious talk about Yuri whilst all titties and everything fly around him. I'm like, Laxus, you got Mira Jane all gagging for it and all that, and you're there hanging out with a little girl like of the third magic saying like, oh, tell me about my grandpa. What the fuck, man? Priorities, man. Like, you know, priorities are not straight on this man, I'm telling you. And even still, when we find out about Yuri, he's like, you know, you're a lot like Yuri, actually. You're a lot like him and all that. It's like, you know, he's your grandpa and all that. And it's like, you know, he's a great fighting father. And it's like, you know what? You're a spitting image of him. You're an absolute spitting image. And he's like, he has a bright personality, and he's got a knack at getting everyone in a cheerful mood. But more than anything, like, he kept his friends close, and to them, that was the world to him. He absolutely adored them. And he's just like, the one thing I liked is like, you know, no matter what awaited us in the future, my one and only dream is to protect you. And last but not least, to believe in you to the bitter end. And I was just like, that was some powerful shit right there. I love that. It's just like, you know what, Lax as well, you know, his friends mean to like the world to him, and he will fight to the bitter end to find for that answer. And I think seeing that moment of Yuri was definitely kind of important. And so, you know, if that has anything to do with Serena, which everyone's been saying, you know, Serena, that could potentially lead into something as well. Like, maybe he like did that saying like, I want to believe into the bitter end, and then maybe he found something out about like Mavis, like maybe he found out about the whole like, you know, okay, this is the bullshit, you actually betrayed us, or something like that. Maybe that's what like she found out. Like, who knows? Maybe that could be, but even still, that'd be a bit weird on Yuri's character. Then he started like following Zera out of nowhere, so you know, it could be very weird, you know, very weird. But although we'll start to find out a lot more about the answers, I still think there's some secrets we need to know about Yuri, and I also still think that Serena isn't down for the count yet. Overall, I did enjoy this chapter a lot. I do think it's a good chapter. I think it is the best fight that we've had so far this Spring 12. Obviously, we can have improvements in the fights, obviously, because I think that everyone's kind of come whole like complaint of this chapter is going to be it was really too short. It was only 2 chapters. Where if you think about it, Fairy Tail chapters are very longer than any kind of series that we can get. And not to mention as well, Fairy Tail's never really been the one for like doing very long fights. Like, we're gonna have like 3 volumes worth of like just a single fight going on in there. Like Fairy Tail's never been that kind of series like from the start. So honestly, like I'm a bit weirded out with the pacing. I'm thinking like maybe they could do a little bit more in the anime. Maybe like that's the whole thing. But that's the whole thing. We should be wanting the anime to like prolong stuff even more in this material. But I still think it was a good chapter nonetheless. I'm going to give it a 7. I think it was a good fight. I still think it's the best one we've had so far. Really hoping for the other like Sprinkles to step their games up and we get some real more awesome stuff into it. And I'm kind of curious about the next chapter. And for people that are wanting to know about the Fairy Tail discussion that's going to be happening tomorrow, well, since the whole Laxus thing's out the window, I think we're going to be talking about a person that everyone's been wanting to talk about for a long while, and that is the Dragon King, Acnologia. You have to wait for tomorrow, that one, but I'm very excited to do that video for you guys. Thank you very much for watching. As always, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. But that's all from me, so I will catch you guys next time.